I say like the concept to talk about within it is tax bracket maximization. Everybody wants to pay the least taxes, at least everyone I know, like wants to pay as little tax as possible, as legally possible, not doing we're not talking about doing anything shady, but just not tipping the IRS, being efficient with where you're putting money, how that money is taxed, and not inadvertently making or putting money in places that cause it to be taxed at a higher rate. So a tax plan is a core part of financial planning and something that should be part of every financial plan where we say, okay, like let's look at current tax rates, expected future tax rates, look at all sorts of types of income, investments, and optimize both your near term and your long term tax plan.
Right. I think about tax planning as a scale, a weight. And on the scale, I'm weighing my in-year deductions, my need for in-year deductions, right? Tax savings against my projected future tax savings. And you're the scale, right? You're trying to weigh, what should I try to soak up or push off or increase my income this year. That's the weight of the scale, but the goal of this scale is to decrease your overall tax drag. To, look at your long-term tax landscape and saying, do I need to soak up certain brackets now and increase my income because I'm in a favorable environment, or do I need to decrease and again pull some of these levers, maybe switch my 401k to pre-tax this year or Roth this year, and make those decisions with a long-term tax view.
Right.
So yeah, that's big picture.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean this is like the crux of personalization, but I would say a common concept is that trying to squeeze every penny of deduction in year every year typically is going to result in a larger lifetime tax burden. Not always, but that's why tax planning is really important because we want to weigh near-term efficiencies, be as efficient, pay as little tax as possible that's efficient in a year, but also look at where are there good opportunities to pay more tax now so that later we pay less and have a return on tax payment, kind of like return on investment, I guess.
Well, absolutely. And a lot of times for a lot of people, at least that we work with, it's a mix. And it's this mix, a beautiful mix of trying to soak up as much in your deductions we can, making any DAF contributions using our HSA, maybe doing a tiny bit of pre-tax here or there, like in your deductions, soaking up those tax savings deductions, but then making really long-term moves, which might be an increase in income. It might be say, okay, we got this much wiggle room in our tax bracket. We're going to make this much of a Roth conversion this year. And
Yep.
so that's the merriment of, sometimes it being a mix.